Welcome to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Today we have Stephen from Speqs. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, Daniel. Very good. Yeah, it's great to be here to share a few things.
Awesome. We're going to jump straight in because I'm excited to hear a bit about what you're doing. So, tell me your story. How did you get up to this point?
So fundamentally, my background's quite extensive. I'm not a young fellow, as you can see, like yourself, but I came in about 4 years ago as a managing director, requested by the directors to come in and help sort out the technology, do a technology pivot from where we were with other technology to the eye test technology which we have today. And fundamentally, it's an interesting because there's only been sort of partial startups I've been involved in the past. So this was quite a interesting process. I'm used to having a few thousand people working under me and quite a large team. And this sort of went all the way down to me as the employee and the number of contractors. The inventor is still with us. He's quite passionate and very focused in doing what he can with the technology, but it's fundamentally an eye test technology on a mobile phone that gives you a prescription after the test, and it's quite quickly to be done. But we've been through some very difficult, trying times, given the fact that we're only a small company, a startup, and we face a lot of regulatory compliance in Australia. As we all know, it's a tough gig, and only a few of us make it to the end of that and actually commercialise. So we're a little bit excited that we're sort of heading down that track, and we've had a lot of support from the committed investors that have been with us since day one. And so, the journey's been quite complicated and very difficult, but we've achieved an outcome with a minimum viable product at the moment. We're starting to showcase that product to potential partners around the world, and they're very excited about it and pushing through with their request to view more and have more. So we went through a lot of validation testing in Australia in regards to Curtin University. We did trials there, over 250 students. We did 2 lots of trials, actually. We went through the School of Medicine, University of Notre Dame, and we did a lot of validation there. And we started the journey with TGA approval. Bit of a Freudian slip there, but so we're going through that process as we speak as well, given our technology. But there's a lot of pull from the industry in regards to this unique technology. There's only one competitor out there in this space, and there's 2.5 billion people with myopia, short-sightedness. So that's a massive market, and we don't see any other potential competitors there. And it does take a number of years to get an optometrist inside the app. It's not an easy task, and it's complicated. And our inventor is an optometrist, so he knows his optometry quite well after 20 plus years experience. And I've got a great team that work around me, and I've also got some great advisory panel members as well. So it's been quite a solid slog, and it's 24/7, 365.
Yeah. So,
as you know,
we'll get into the team, but what's your background?
Oh, my background, microcomputer technology, electronics, electrical, construction, PLCs, control systems. And then I went into more technology-based applications. I love electronics and electrical and software, and sort of cut my teeth on ladder logic and development software, and moved into sort of microcomputer technology back in the day, back when K-Pro 2s and DOS was sort of emerging. There was no Windows or social media or anything like that. So very interested in computers and how they worked. Used to pull everything apart, put it all back together again. Even my mum said at a young age, do that from a young age. And so, but I've worked in oil and gas, mining, high-speed rail, all the technology parts of that, eye tracking systems. Spent 8 years at Dynamic Digital Depth working in eye tracking systems and digital display systems and lenticular display, and and working on microcomputer technology, and sort of went into executive management probably about 20 odd years ago, and sort of been involved quite extensively across that space, and worked in a number of regions around the world.
Okay. And tell us about the team. You said the inventor's still in the business. What's their background?
Their background's mechanical engineering fundamentally, and then went to do optometry, and has been over 20 years in optometry field, working quite flat out. His family member had some serious problems with their myopia and their vision, and he started to look at ways that can solve that problem. And he's a great inventor. He's very sophisticated in his design development. He's one in a million, you would say. I've worked with a lot of inventors, a lot of double PhDs, and in different fields and segments, and he's exquisite, and requires a lot of the support with the other team members, which we provide. So yeah, and we've got a commercialisation expert with us. We've got a finance, and where I'm not allowed to spend any money at all. I'm vetted quite extensively. She's a great addition to the team and does fantastic with the financials, which, as we all know, financials for a startup is hard work, and we get them signed off each year. We've got other members of the technology specialists. We've got a couple of well-known people out there in the industry. I won't mention their names at the moment. That are also involved as the CTO, and also from our consultancy side.
Okay.
So
awesome.
yeah.
So you've touched on the products. Can you give me an insight into it? What does it do? What problems is it solving, and what's your solution?
So the biggest problem that we're seeing is a pandemic that I didn't really realise that was in the space in eye care in regards to myopia, which is short-sightedness. From about there backwards, it's very blurry depending on your the issue. And fundamentally, there's 2.5 billion people worldwide that have that problem. And at the moment, the only solution is to see your optometrist, get a prescription from that optometrist from a specialist piece of equipment that can range $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. An autorefractor, it takes time, you've got to book in and so forth. And globally, there's over 1 billion people that will never see an optometrist in their lifetime. So that's a massive market there to look for a solution. And part of that solution is an eye test on a mobile phone. There are 6 billion of these around the world. And believe it or not, even in the poorest countries and the poorest villages, they have iPhones. And we developed the technology in the old RGB camera, not on the latest, so we can upscale quite quickly. And it's basically just a quick, simple eye test on the phone. You cover one eye, it tracks and goes through a process. 20, 30 seconds later, you end up with a prescription that just like an optometrist would provide. So we basically put an optometrist inside the mobile phone.
Okay.
So fundamentally, working on that, we can also provide hyperopia and presbyopia, which is another third of that market, about 1.6 billion people worldwide, that require where they can't see close up. So half of us have got that. I've got a little bit of it. So that's the solution that we've been looking at providing for that market, addressable market.
Perfect. Okay, so we understand the solution. We understand the problem you're fixing. How do you scale? How do you scale this product?
Fundamentally, it's partnering. Our business model is partnering with a big retailer out there. They've got the market in place. They want to grow their market online in particular. For instance, globally, I think online take-up of ordering glasses is about 4%. It's not very high. There are our other competitor in the US is trying with another group to try and engage that marketplace. And so, but they're set up, they've got a different model. Our models will be a licensing agreement with that partner. And we're fundamentally going through that process at the moment, some trials, testing, show and tell, and to line up those partners globally for that opportunity.
Okay, awesome. So walk me through the milestones. What have you achieved so far?
Oh, I haven't got it up, but we've achieved a lot of milestones. Fundamentally, just survival each year, financials and so forth, getting through that. The technology went through a major upgrade in 2021. So in 2020, we went to the market and we did trials in China and India, testing the product with the largest majors in both areas. They come back with a lot of results. We then upgraded updated that technology, doing some improvements. And then we did another lot of trials. This happened over 3 to 6 months, both in China and India. With that information that's come back, we've found a ceiling limit on our technology. So we went back to the drawing board at late 2020. We had another contractor come in that understood the technology base internationally in regards to upgrading that. And so in 2021, we upgraded the whole technology to brand new technology through that process. We did some validation at the University of Notre Dame at the end of 2021. We signed that off. We were able to get ethics approval done, a small trial, and also we put in an application for TGA that we're working on at the moment. So we've come a long way very quickly. Our other competitors spent 8 years before they released their product. We're about 4 or 5 years into that development. So that's not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting. Okay, so you've got the distribution, organized partnering with large retailers. You've got the solution. You've upgraded the solution. You've tested it into 2 very large markets. Where to from here? What's next?
Fundamentally, it's gaining two things: a commercial agreement with one of the partners. We've probably globally we've got about 12 that we're working through at the moment. Fundamentally, 4 of those are in India, 3 are in China, so they're our biggest markets. There's 1.3 billion people between the two that have myopia in those markets. Fundamentally, the other part is the medical compliance requirements through TGA in Australia. That's the other milestone. And also we're going through the next couple of months of capital raise process and looking at inviting external investors in as well.
Okay, so let's touch on the raise. Tell me about the raise. How much you're raising? What's the use of funds for? And what's the momentum you've had so far?
So fundamentally, we want to raise 2 million, minimum 500K. That's the minimum ticket. We're looking at 15% equity, so it's 5 cents a share. So that's the sort of offer at the moment, the equity offer. We are only just starting that journey at the moment, and I've got a few bites and a few questions, so I'm going through that process. We have a pitch deck with everything on it in regards to that, and a teaser as well that can provide some information at the top level before we go into an NDA. We'll be progressing to an information memorandum probably early January, mid-January, so that we can start to move that to those that are interested. So that's the focus at the moment. The use of funds is around the technology development. We're upgrading a couple of items inside the technology to make it fully compliant. We're looking at TGA compliance requirements, potentially FDA, but we're not 100% sure yet. We've had three patent grants at the moment. We've got 5 countries that are still going through the process. But at the moment, we've got Australia, Japan, and South Korea been granted. So given that Australia and Japan have been granted in particular, our IP specialist basically said the rest should follow suit. The only patent that challenges that is the competitor patent, which really we get over that very quickly because it's not like our technology. So we're very unique still. After 4 years, there's nothing like it in the world, but we're still working as diligently, as quickly as we can with our current resourcing. So 70% will be focused on, or 60% or so will be focused on the development, improvements and so forth of the technology and adding presbyopia, hyperopia and a few other things. Commercialisation will take about 15 to 18% of that, and the rest will just be overhead. So we're trying to keep it as low as possible. We don't have any extra bills to pay. We're very low on. We've got a single room for rent, and that's a monthly. We don't have any commitments anywhere else. So financially, we're very sharp in the water, which adds a lot of value to the process as well.
All right, perfect. I mean, the technology that you're building, the market size is quite large. You know, it affects quite a lot of people, and as we are getting, the increasing the size of population, your market size is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's certainly a need. I mean, if people are listening to this and thinking about Western societies, it might be easy just to pop into your local Specsavers or APSM and get an eye test. But if you've got to think about regions, even country towns, it is very difficult to achieve this if you're thinking about third world countries where you'll have a regional population of 10 to 30 million people. Especially there's some states in China and India that have 10 to 30 million people, and their access to optometrists are probably very limited. And there's, having worked with a number of companies in the medical device and healthcare space that are targeting these emerging countries, there's a massive need for what you're doing. Just having some experience, working with the companies that are targeting these areas. So I like what you're doing. I think it's great. So in terms of the next steps, what are you looking for? Do you have a profile of investor that you're looking to bring on board? Are you looking for just capital? Are you looking for smart money? Are you looking for someone who can open up the doors strategically? What's your ideal investor look like?
So fundamentally, the ideal investor at the moment is the cash flow is always king, and that's been a real problem. We've been very skinny on the road, and having 2 million in the bank will provide a focus around more laser focus on our development, gaining more traction with the partner and helping us with our commercialization process with those partners. We've been told by some of the larger groups, potential partners around the world, that they're looking for technical partnerships to help them through that process. They want to get online and larger. Their online prescription glasses are only about a third of the price of the in-store, because they're trying to attract attention and grow their market. So it's a little bit of everything, but I think fundamentally it's the focus around the introductions, the financial side. We are working on a number of other fronts in regards to those specialists associated with those regions. So that can be quite expensive when you go through regulatory approval. So fundamentally, that's sort of the pathway, and you need money for that. So it's more the equity. Commercialization through the partners will be interesting. Once it starts, fundamentally, it'll be internal with their optometrists working and developing that process for online and how that will work. The business model is very simple. Clip of the tickets there, the licensing agreement, the white labeling. There's a number of different ways that different partners might want to do it, and fundamentally, we want to leave the door open to discuss different opportunities. We don't want to be too hard-lined in regards to how we're going. We're having a fair bit of fun doing this and enjoying the process, or I'm enjoying it, I think, at this point, after a pretty hard slog. So it's just getting that kind of investor on board that can see the opportunity, not only from the commercial side, but from the philanthropy side, to make a difference in people's lives is very important to the whole team. But we're also very aware that commercial is fundamentally the function of this business with shareholders and investment. So
yeah, okay, perfect. Well, we'll leave it there. It's an exciting opportunity. It's not just an interesting financial investment, but also in terms of doing good for society, you're certainly going down that path. So it's, an impact investment as well as a financial investment. But thank you for jumping on. Anybody who's interested in knowing more, I'll put the details of Speqs below this, and please get in contact with my team. Happy to make an introduction to Stephen and the team from Speqs. But thank you very much. It's been great chatting to you.
Great. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it.
No worries. Bye.
Okay.